Welcome everyone to USB Forensics and Pen Testing at Pentester Academy. I'm Dr. Phil Polstra and I'll be your instructor for this course. And in this brief video, I'm going to give you a little bit of an overview of what's coming up with this course. So, where do we start? Well, some of you have probably seen me around. I'm a pretty frequent conference speaker. I've done some repeat performances at DEF CON. I've actually spoken at DEF CON 4 times in the last 3 years. I've spoken multiple times at Black Hat, GERCON, 44Con, some other conferences as well. Also been known to speak at conferences such as BrewCon, Sector, ShakaCon, and other interesting conferences that I discover along the way. Also an author, recently released a book called Hacking and Penetration Testing with Low-Power Devices. And this book is all about how you can build low-cost, battery-powered pen testing devices, drop boxes, remote hacking drones, etc., which you can operate in a big network, a big army of these things, from up to a mile or 1.6 kilometers away. My technical editor on that book needs no introduction. It's Mr. Vivek Ramachandran, who's the founder of SecurityTube and Pentester Academy. I'm sure you're all familiar with him. I also have 2 new books coming out this year in 2015. My day job, I'm an associate professor of digital forensics at Bloomsburg University of Pennsylvania. I've been programming since I was 8, programming in assembly since I was 10, and I've also been playing around with electronics and hacking hardware since I was 12. Also an aviator, been known to build planes and fly, teach people how to fly, work on planes. I have a dozen ratings for that sort of stuff. Without further ado, let's talk about this class. What's coming up? Well, we're going to start out by going over the USB basics. So we're going to have a good grounding in what's the hardware look like, what are the different versions of USB, how do connections work out, what are the standard device classes that are available for USB. We'll talk about endpoints and descriptors, all the details about USB and how it operates. We're going to focus a lot on mass storage devices. So we're going to talk about how do the communications work, what do they look like, what are the limitations for the NAND flash chips that are used in thumb drives. And we're going to spend a lot of time on that and how you can do fun things with USB. Well, what kind of fun things? We're going to talk about how you can make forensic duplicates of thumb drives using microcontrollers. So we're going to start out, and the first device that we're going to cover is this little guy here. This little guy is what I would claim is the world's smallest USB forensic duplicator. It fits in an Altoid gum tin, and it allows you to make forensic copies on the go of thumb drives. So we'll talk a little bit about how that works and have some fun with microcontrollers. From there, we will move up to a slightly more friendly microcontroller that has things like this. This has got an LCD screen. It has some buttons and such that allow you to do some more stuff. It's a little bit more user-friendly than the small version, which just has the blinky lights here. So we will talk about that. We'll get into microcontrollers and reading switches and outputting to screens as part of that process. We will move on to talk about USB write blocking. We'll talk about different ways that you can do that with software and, of course, with hardware. So we will talk about things like this little guy. This little guy is a USB write blocker that allows you to take a thumb drive, plug it in through this device, and block writes. And we'll talk about the details of that, and hopefully after you've gone through this course, you'll be able to understand how those things work and possibly make your own devices. Then the real fun starts. We'll get into USB impersonation. Why would you want to do something like this? Some people are using endpoint software that whitelists authorized devices. So we'll talk to you about how you can build something like this little guy here. This little guy here was presented at DEF CON a few years ago, and he allows you to plug your thumb drive into the device, and then your device will impersonate an authorized device. So we'll have some fun with that. And again, we'll have a little bit more fun with hardware and microcontrollers, buttons, LEDs, LCDs, etc. Along the way through this class, we're going to spend some time leveraging open source software, things like Wireshark. We'll show you how you can use Wireshark to sniff USB traffic. And we'll also cover some advanced topics such as dealing with Windows-only devices. And we'll also talk about things like UDEV rules that you can use in order to control how USB devices are treated on your Linux system and possibly in your VirtualBox hosted systems within that Linux system as well. So that is an overview of what we're going to talk about. I'm really excited about this course. And as always, if you're enjoying your time here at Pentester Academy, recommend us to a friend. The more people that we have subscribed, the more fun courses such as this one we can offer. I'll see you next time.